everyone. I'm Ernisha. My debate partner is Domenico, and tonight we're going to be debating with the policy claim that genetically modified food seeds should be banned in the U.S. So we're the affirmative side for that. And I want to start off by reading you the definition of genetically modified organisms. Now, genetically modified organisms are organisms that are altered at the molecular level using DNA restructuring. This process allows organisms to adopt properties that would not naturally occur. With that, we want to say that genetically modified organisms are not healthy, and also that they are harmful against the environment. And we're going to do that by discussing several points. I'll be talking about the health issues that go with genetically modified organisms, while Dominic will be talking about the environmental issues and why they're harmful towards the environment. The issues that I'm going to be touching upon are what the FDA had said about genetically modified organisms, how the big companies play with genetically modified organisms, and several incidences that had occurred with genetically modified organisms and why they're unhealthy with Americans that consume genetically modified organisms. So this is from Forbes.com, and it said, according to the FDA statement policy, section 402A1 of the Act imposes a legal duty on those who introduce food into the marketplace, including food derived from new crop varieties, to ensure that the food satisfies the applicable safety standards. To summarize that, that pretty much means that the FDA leaves the safety regulations to the companies that sell the products that contain genetically modified organisms. Now, one of the dangers that comes from genetically modified organisms is the fact that they aren't labeled. And if large companies that produce and sell genetically modified organisms say that they are safe and healthy, then why is it that they refuse to label their foods? One of the reasons why they refuse to label their foods is because the genetically modified crops in which to produce such products are patented, which means that this grants several companies or corporations several privileges to this, also meaning that they restrict independent research on the risks and possible benefits of the GE products, genetically engineered products, which is legal under patent law, but severely limits objective examination of the efficacy and safety of genetic corporations. One of the dangers that follows after that is that there's not much long-term research done on genetically modified organisms, and it's seen as one of the biggest dangers as well, because, and there's also very little short-term information. The government approves these genetically modified foods as being somewhat having the same risk as unmodified foods and food crops, but they're going based off assumption and not actually researching. The genetic modification done on plants can actually have a dramatic effect on the risk and safety concerns, and there is no long-term risk info available to determine if these foods have any risk. And there were several cases in which several small studies where they had tested this on animals, and also there was several reports from farmers that had fed several genetically modified corn feed and soybean feed to some of the animals. And I'm going to start with the studies that they did on rats and mice. From Global Research, rats were fed genetically engineered Calagene flavor saver tomatoes, which are developed to look fresh for weeks. They were fed this for about 28 days. They ended up getting stomach bleeding or stomach lesions, and 7 died and were replaced in the study. Another study case was that rats were fed Monsanto 863 BT corn. And what BT is a BT toxin used as a pesticide or herbicide when growing these crops. And they were fed this for 90 days, and they ended up developing several reactions typically found in response to allergies, infections, toxins, diseases like cancer, anemia, and blood pressure problems. Their blood cells, livers, and kidneys showed significant changes indicative of diseases. Mice were fed either GM potatoes engineered to produce Bt toxin or natural potatoes containing the toxin and they ended up having intestinal damage. Both varieties created abnormal excessive cell growth in the lower intestines. Also, the human equivalent to that damage might cause incontinence, which is flu-like symptoms or those that could be precancerous. Also, Iowa farmers reported a conception rate drop from 80% to 20% among sows, which are female pigs, and that were fed GM corn. Now, most of these pigs also had false pregnancies. Some delivered bags of water, and some of them stopped menstruating. Male pigs were also fed this genetically modified corn, and some of them became sterile, and this also occurred with cows and bulls who were also fed genetically modified corn. Also, there was a death rate for chickens fed genetically modified Liberty Link corn, and they were fed this for about 42 days, but the death rate between these chickens doubled. They also experienced less weight gain, and their food intake was erratic. At first, it was believed by scientists and researchers that the modified genes were destroyed during digestion. By the digestion process for recently modified food genes have been found in the brains of some infant mice. This has led to believe that the toxins used in genetically modified organisms actually stay within the digestive tract of the people that consume. Okay. Can I keep going? Or?
No, you're out of time.